who art in heaven. Hi. Adam here. Wow, this is really hard. I have so many fond memories of the times we shared. The daily walks through the garden, as if I were your pet. And you, letting me come up with names for the animals you created. It was easy, as I could pretty much make up any sound, and there you go, that's their new name. Or the many hours spent playing hide and seek in the garden, with you always calling out, Adam, where art thou? Good times, good times. You can level with me now. You weren't just patronizing me, playing dumb, were you? Because it sure seemed you always came back from behind, for the win, as if you were omniscient, and already knew where I was hiding. Anyway, what a screw-up I was, messing up my opportunity to spend an eternity with you. You really couldn't have said it any clearer. In the day that ye eatest of the fruit, thou shalt surely die. You'd almost think I intentionally disobeyed, like I was depressed, and had a death wish. Oh well, it's all water under the bridge now. No use crying over spilt milk, right? God, I've had this nagging feeling for quite some time, that something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. But since eating the fruit, I've become much more self-aware. I now think it's best we don't hang out anymore. It's not you, really, it's me. I'm just not worthy. It literally kills me to be around you, as our relationship is rather dysfunctional, to say the least. You threatened Eve and I with death, kicked us out of the family home, so there's not much left to say, is there? Like, what am I going to do, get a restraining order against you? Issued by whom? You? As if that would do any good. Keep that self-induced restraining order concept in mind, as it may come in handy someday. For instance, and this is just a hypothetical, imagine you flew into a blind homicidal rage, and destroyed all living creatures on Earth, say, by drowning them in a flood. Then you calmed down later, and regretted it. You could use that self-induced restraining order, as your promise never to do it again, perhaps causing colored bands of light to appear in the sky, after a rainstorm. You know, like when someone wraps a string around their finger into a bow, so they remember to do something? You might give it a name, like, I don't know, rainbow? Tell the survivors it's your reminder of your covenant, not to kill them all again. Oh, you might limit the promise specifically to floods. That'll give you a legal loophole, so you can use other means of mass destruction, should they ever get cheeky with you again. Now, that's just off the top of my head. You probably can come up with something better. God, I hope you understand, it's not you, but me. You are perfect. I'm sure any group of mere mortals would be thrilled to have you for their god. You're smart, powerful, with a great sense of humor, expressed as a love for pranks and practical jokes. For instance, calling it the tree of knowledge of good and bad was a hoot. You certainly were not kidding about the bad part. I still can't believe I fell for that one. And you call the serpent the sneaky one, you clever clogs you. Anyway, I think we both need to focus our energies elsewhere. For one, Eve and I need to work on our marriage. Having made women, you know how pissy they get when the hubby spends too much time carousing with the boys. By the way, thanks for giving her that personality trait. Quite endearing, really. Eve's certain she'll take all the blame for this, and has been unbelievably insecure about her body ever since. She won't stop with the, does this fig leaf make my butt look big, question. I never know how to respond. I mean, should I lie to her, or tell the truth? During all those daily walks, you never once offered any advice on how to handle that one. And lately, fig leaves, and even those tunics you gave us, aren't working to cover her shame, so she's resorted to more drastic measures. Oh, wait a minute, here she comes now.
Hi God. So sorry about the fruit faux pas. Lord, if you see your little snake buddy, tell him thanks for the tip on the forbidden fruit diet that he saw on the Dr. Oz show. I've already lost 5 pounds, and it's really opened my eyes to a world I never dreamed of, one that I call haute couture. I guess you're not the only one who can create things and give them names, eh? Well, I've got to get running. I'm opening a boutique, as someone's got to pay the bills around here. Then I'm off to Winter Pilates, and meeting Mum for a spot of tea and girl talk, since I'm so filled with shame. Tor, ciao, darlings.
See what I mean? She came out of the bedroom this morning, wearing that outfit, and I asked how much it cost. She said, "You got to name the zebras, so I get to design an ensemble paying homage to them." She had me on that one. I was perfectly happy wearing a fig leaf, but now she's making me wear this silly get-up. I don't know what's worse, the shame of running around butt naked, or the embarrassment of wearing this. The animals now run from her in fear, as she's trying to cover their naughty bits, as well. I doubt her fashion idea will catch on, but I don't want to discourage her, as she's so riddled with guilt. Even worse, she's withholding sex, for fear of what you have in mind for the grandkids. I told her to relax, as you certainly wouldn't be petty enough to punish them for our mistakes, right? And now that nepotism is off the table, she says she'd rather not bear my children, until I find a career more lucrative than farming. She gets shame-induced headaches after sex, unless I give her a new outfit, to prevent what she calls relapsing into her shame spiral. I have no idea what she's talking about. I planted the idea that kids would give her tiny things to dress up, and she lit up at the idea. Who knows, maybe having kids is the answer, at least taking some heat off the animals and me. I know you're dealing with women problems of your own, as I recently chatted with dear old Mum, your consort, Ashara. Mum said she's leaving you for good, after displaying your legendary jealousy and anger, one too many times. Mum said you smacked her, but you started sobbing, and asked her for forgiveness. She said you promised to change, and to go to anger management, but never did. While I don't possess your almighty wisdom, it may be a bad idea, putting, "I cannot change," and, "I am a jealous god," written in stone. Mum plans to use your own words against you, in a custody battle for all earthly creatures. She wants to keep the garden estate, for you to move out, and you to pay her cohabitation and dependent support. I told her it would be an uphill battle, reminding her, you are chief of Elohim, head of the divine pantheon council. God, you know I love you like a son, but we both need to move on. Me, with Eve, and maybe you can start over, creating another universe? I recently read a book called Codependent No More, and highly recommend it. I've also been reading management books, and think you'd enjoy learning to motivate others, without resorting to a fear-based, top-down, managerial style. I know. Adam, the imperfect fallen mortal, is in no position to be offering advice to Almighty you. But consider this. Genuine love and respect cannot be demanded under penalty of death. Love can be given, but never must be demanded, as it will crumble to dust. Even omnipotent beings lack the power required to force others to love them. It's rather zen-like, and kinda counterintuitive, but Bonnie Raitt wrote a song that says it quite well. I can send it to you, if you'd like. And while it's pathetic when humans try to buy friends and love, it's even worse when gods create beings that must worship and love them, or else be killed. Delivering ultimatums and death threats doesn't exactly draw humans to you, you know? You do realize, the very first words you said to me, after I was created, contained a death threat? You created humans with a longing for free will, but hamstrung us from making decisions, not giving us an inherent understanding of good and bad. You thus made us with a diminished mental capacity, as children, unable to consider consequences. We only ever gained, and exercised, true free will, by disobeying you, allowing for our growth. The decision to disobey wasn't made using free will, since we didn't even possess it, yet. Besides, the option to eat was not a valid free will test, since that option was so heavily biased against, by you. Further, reasonable custodianship required you to put toxic trees behind an electric fence, since you knew it exposed others to harm. You also cannot leave sweet-tasting antifreeze out, where animals and infants may drink it. This clearly was a case of divine entrapment, pure and simple. Lord, you created dogs. They are pretty good at unconditional love, although even they have their limits. Maybe a dog would make a good companion for you, perhaps a golden retriever, and then you can work your way up from there. Hopefully we can remain civil, at least for the sake of family reunions. You can tell everyone it was my fault. I'm man enough to be the scapegoat. You might consider hiring a spokesman to handle your public relations. I'm hearing lots of good things about a new startup called Jesus Christ Agency. Well, I've got to plow a field covered in thistles and thorns, but thanks for all you've done for both Eve and I. You have all our due, eternal love and respect. Speaking of eternity, I'm not sure how much time we have before death. You promised we'd die the very day we ate of the fruit, as if it were a deadly poison. But that didn't happen. Maybe you meant we'll be dead the very millennium we eat of it? There you go, once again, with your forked tongue, figure of speech expressions. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you and the serpent were pulling a prank on us, the permanent butts of your jokes. Is that it, yet again? Ha ha. Really funny stuff, God. In your name, I pray. Amen.